I'm Elena Taylor, and 5 years ago I was America's golden girl. Now I'm 45, kneeling in dirt, arguing with roses that refuse to bloom the way I want them to. The irony isn't lost on me. I who once cut through water like a blade can't even make flowers cooperate. The morning sun hits Gilbert's Community Garden Center hard, already promising another scorching Arizona day. My hands shake slightly as I adjust the prize ribbon on my hybrid tea rose display. First place at the spring competition, again. Swimming taught me that winning never fills the hole inside, but old habits die hard. Excuse me, are you Elena Taylor? I look up to find a woman about 30 watching me with the kind of intensity that makes my stomach flutter. She's got rich brown hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, and these startling blue eyes that seem to see right through my carefully constructed walls. Depends who's asking. I stand, brushing soil from my knees. She's tall, maybe 5'7", with the kind of understated confidence that suggests she's used to handling difficult situations. Wren Harris. She extends a dirt-free hand. I won second place in the herb garden category. Your roses are incredible. There's something in her voice. Not the usual star-struck tone people use when they recognize me from old magazine covers. This feels different. Real. Thanks. Herbs are practical. I respect that. Not much call for roses in witness protection work. She says it casually, like she's discussing the weather. But beauty has its place too. Witness protection. That explains the watchful way she carries herself. Heavy job for someone so young. Heavy world sometimes. Wren steps closer to examine my prize roses. These must take incredible patience. More than swimming ever did. The words slip out before I can stop them. Water's predictable. Roses have their own agenda. She laughs, and the sound hits me somewhere I'd forgotten existed. I like things with their own agenda. Keeps life interesting. The garden center starts filling with other competitors and their families. Children run between the display tables while parents chat about fertilizer and pruning techniques. Normal people living normal lives. I used to resent them for that simplicity. Coffee? Wren asks suddenly. There's a place across the street. Unless you need to stick around for more congratulations. I should say no. I've gotten good at saying no to connections that might lead somewhere complicated, but there's something about the way she's looking at me. Not at my trophies or my past, but at me right now, in this moment, with dirt under my fingernails and sweat on my forehead. Sure. I grab my ribbon and purse, but I'm buying. Winner's privilege. As we leave the garden center, I catch her glancing back at my roses one more time. Most people see the perfect blooms and assume they came easily, but Wren seems to notice the careful staking, the evidence of countless hours of patient work. Maybe that's what draws me to her. She sees the effort behind the beauty, the struggle that makes the final result worth something. The coffee shop smells like cinnamon and possibility. Wren slides into the booth across from me, her movements precise but not rigid. There's grace there, the kind that comes from knowing exactly who you are. So witness protection, I say, stirring sugar into my Americano. That's got to mess with your personal life. What personal life? Her laugh has an edge. Hard to date when you can't talk about work, and work is pretty much everything. I get that. More than she knows. After the accident, after the lawsuits and depositions, I learned how isolation becomes a habit. People expect you to be who you used to be. Wren leans forward. What happened? I mean, I know about the swimming, but there's more, isn't there? Most people dance around it, afraid to ask directly. Her honesty catches me off guard. Equipment failure during training. Split my shoulder open, destroyed the joint. 10 years of Olympic dreams gone in 30 seconds. That wasn't equipment failure. The certainty in her voice makes my blood freeze. What do you mean? I've seen enough accident scenes to know the difference. She wraps her hands around her mug. Someone wanted you hurt. Nobody's ever said it that bluntly before. The lawyers danced around theories, the insurance investigators asked careful questions, but everyone treated it like a tragic accident. Hearing the truth spoken aloud hits like a physical blow. Even if that's true, it doesn't matter now. My voice sounds steadier than I feel. Can't change the past. But you can stop letting it control your future. She says it so simply, like healing is just a choice you make. Maybe for some people it is. Easy for you to say, you still have your career. Do I? Her smile turned sad. I spend my days helping people disappear from their old lives. Doesn't leave much room for building a new one. Something shifts between us. Recognition, maybe. Two women carrying different kinds of damage, finding unexpected understanding in a suburban coffee shop. Why roses? She asks. They bloom or they don't. No politics, no judges, no one else controlling the outcome. Lonely way to live. Safe way to live. Ren reaches across the table, her fingertips barely grazing my wrist. Safe's overrated. The contact sends heat racing up my arm. When was the last time someone touched me without pity or curiosity? When did I stop seeking out that connection? Ren. Her name feels foreign on my tongue. This isn't smart. Smart would be me staying home, tending my herbs, keeping my head down. She doesn't pull her hand away. But smart doesn't explain why I've been driving past your garden plot for 3 weeks, trying to work up the courage to talk to you. 3 weeks. She's been watching me, thinking about me, the way I've been replaying our first conversation since yesterday. I don't do dating, I say. Neither do I. I'm not looking for anything serious. Good. Serious would complicate my security clearance, but something in her eyes suggests we're both lying. The careful distance we're maintaining feels like preparation for a fall we both know is coming. The afternoon light through the coffee shop window catches the gold in her hair. She's beautiful in an understated way, the kind of woman who's learned to blend in, to be unremarkable when her job requires it. But sitting here, talking to me like I'm worth the risk, she's anything but unremarkable. Walk with me? She asks. Outside, the Arizona heat hits like stepping into an oven, but Ren doesn't seem to notice. We drift toward the small park behind the coffee shop, past families with strollers and teenagers on skateboards. I knew who you were before the garden competition, she admits. Read about you in old magazine articles. Research comes with the job? Curiosity comes with being human. She stops walking, turns to face me fully. You were magnificent in the water. Were. Past tense. Are. Present tense. Her voice drops lower. Magnificence doesn't just disappear. Before I can overthink it, before I can list all the reasons this is a mistake, I lean forward and kiss her. She tastes like coffee and something sweeter, something I'd forgotten I missed. Her hand slides up to cut my cheek, thumb tracing along my jawline with devastating gentleness. When we break apart, my heart is pounding like I just finished a sprint set. Damn. I whisper. Yeah, she agrees. Damn. 3 days after that kiss, I find myself vacuuming my living room for the second time this week. When was the last time I cared how my place looked? Ren's coming over tonight, and I'm nervous in a way I haven't been since high school. The house feels different with someone else's arrival anticipated. The swimming trophies on the mantel catch afternoon light, their gold surfaces reflecting memories I usually try to ignore. Olympic trials, nationals, the meet where everything changed. Ren asked to see them, and for the first time in years, sharing feels possible instead of painful. My phone buzzes. Running 5 minutes late. Traffic on Gilbert Road. No rush, I text back, though my pulse quickens anyway. When she arrives, she's carrying a bottle of wine and wearing a soft blue dress that brings out her eyes. I've only seen her in gardening clothes before. This version of Ren makes my mouth go dry. Nice place. She takes in the open floor plan, the pool visible through sliding glass doors. Do you still swim? Sometimes. I don't mention it's usually at 3 a.m. when neighbors can't witness my clumsy attempts to reclaim what I lost. She gravitates toward the trophy case like I knew she would. Tell me about this one. The gold medal from Nationals sits in front, the one that should have launched me to Beijing. Last race before the accident. Personal best in the 200 freestyle. How close were you to the Olympic team? Ranked second in the country, the words taste bitter and proud at the same time. Coach said I had a real shot at gold. Ren's reflection appears beside mine in the glass case. That must make the loss even harder. Most people try to minimize my grief. Tell me there are other things in life besides swimming. She's the first to acknowledge that losing everything you've worked for actually matters. What about you? I turn away from the memories. Ever want something so badly it consumed everything else? Yeah. Her smile turns sad. A normal life, family, the kind of relationship where you can tell someone what you did at work today. Heavy price for helping people. Worth it though. Most of the time. We settle on the couch with wine, and she tells me about her cases without breaking confidentiality. Domestic abuse survivors starting over. Witnesses to organized crime who chose justice over safety. People rebuilding from nothing, finding strength they didn't know they had. Sounds familiar, I say. That's why I wanted to know you. She sets down her glass, shifts to face me fully. You rebuilt too, even if you don't see it that way. Rebuilding implies making something better. I just learned to settle for less. Elena. The way she says my name holds gentle reproach. Look around. This house, your garden, the way you carry yourself. You didn't settle. You adapted. The distinction shouldn't matter, but somehow it does. Adaptation sounds active, intentional. Settling sounds like giving up. I watched you at the competition, she continues. You weren't just growing roses, you were perfecting them. That's not settling behavior. She's sitting close enough that I can smell her perfume, something light and floral that makes me want to lean closer. The wine has relaxed something in both of us, lowered the careful barriers we've been maintaining. Ren. I reach for her hand. I need you to know. I'm not good at this anymore. At letting people close. Neither am I. She interlaces our fingers. Maybe we can figure it out together. When she kisses me this time, it's different from the tentative connection in the park. Deeper, more certain. I taste wine on her lips and something else. Want, maybe, or hope. Her hand slides up my arm to my shoulder, fingers tracing the scar tissue where surgery tried to repair what couldn't truly be fixed. She doesn't flinch or ask questions. Just touches me like I'm whole. We move together with careful urgency, hands mapping new territory, breath catching at unexpected moments of connection. In my bedroom, she traces the constellation of smaller scars from physical therapy, kisses them like there's something beautiful instead of shameful. When our bodies finally come together, it's with the kind of desperate tenderness that comes from too long alone. She moves against me with patient intensity, reading my responses like she's studied them, adapting to what I need before I know I need it. Later, lying in the dark with her head on my shoulder, I feel something I haven't experienced in years. Not just satisfaction, but peace. The constant low-level anxiety that's been my companion since the accident has quieted to a whisper. Stay, I say into her hair. Okay. She falls asleep with one arm thrown across my ribs, her breathing deep and even. I lie awake watching moonlight move across the ceiling, marveling at how natural this feels. How right. Tomorrow I'll panic about moving too fast, about the complications of getting involved with someone whose job requires secrets. But tonight, for the first time in years, I'm not sleeping alone with my ghosts. Waking up to someone else's breathing is jarring after 5 years of solitude. Ren's arm is still draped across my ribs, her hair fanned out on my pillow like she belongs there. The rational part of my brain starts cataloging all the reasons this is too fast, too complicated, too dangerous for my carefully reconstructed life. Then she stirs, murmurs my name against my collarbone, and rational thought evaporates. Morning, she says without opening her eyes. It's barely 6. I trace patterns on her bare shoulder. Don't you have important government business to attend to? Not till 8. She presses a lazy kiss to my throat. Plenty of time. 3 weeks later, we've fallen into an easy rhythm that terrifies me. She comes over most evenings after work, helps me tend the garden while talking about everything except her cases. We cook together, badly, and make up for culinary disasters with takeout and wine. She's patient with my moments of panic, when intimacy feels too much like vulnerability. When I shut down mid-conversation or flinch away from casual touch, she doesn't push. just waits for me to find my footing again. "You know what I like about you?" she says one evening, as we're deadheading roses in the fading light. "My sparkling personality? You don't need rescuing." She strips off her gardening gloves. "Most people I meet, professionally or personally, they're looking for someone to save them. You save yourself." Maybe I'm tired of doing everything alone. Good. She bumps my shoulder with hers. Because I like being needed for something other than witness relocation. At the community garden center, we've become a recognized pair. Mrs. Patterson from the Herb Society makes pointed comments about how nice it is to see Elena happy again. Jim from the Rose Club asks when we're getting married, like it's inevitable. The assumption of permanence should scare me more than it does. People talk, I tell Ren as we're planting late summer annuals. Let them. She doesn't look up from the seedlings. What are they saying? That we're good together. Shocking observation. Her smile is teasing. Think they're onto something? Before I can answer, she leans over and kisses me with dirt-stained fingers cupping my face. Mrs. Patterson clears her throat from 2 plots over, but she's smiling when I look up. That night, Ren stays for dinner and ends up staying till morning again. It's becoming our pattern, this gradual blending of lives without formal discussion or commitment. She has a drawer in my dresser now, toiletries in my bathroom, favorite coffee in my kitchen. In bed, she traces the surgical scar on my shoulder with reverent fingers. Does it hurt? Not physically, not anymore, but emotionally. Every damn day. I catch her hand, hold it still. It represents everything I lost. What if it represented everything you survived instead? She has a gift for reframing my damage into something less devastating. The accident becomes a test I passed. The career ending becomes a new beginning. The isolation becomes preparation for letting the right person in. When she makes love to me this time, there's deeper urgency. Hands that know my body's map. Mouth that finds every sensitive spot with practiced precision. She takes me apart with patient expertise and pieces me back together stronger than before. Later, she sits up against the headboard, her skin luminous in the lamplight. I need to tell you something. My stomach clenches. This is where she explains about the transfer, the other woman, the reasons this can't continue. Okay. I love you. The words hit like cold water, shocking and necessary. Ren. I know it's fast. I know we're both complicated and maybe this is crazy, but I needed you to know. She twists the sheet between her fingers. You don't have to say it back. But I want to. The words are right there, crowding behind my teeth. I love you too. Her smile is radiant. Yeah? Terrifies the hell out of me, but yeah. She kisses me then, deep and claiming, and I understand that something fundamental has shifted. This isn't casual anymore, isn't just 2 lonely people finding temporary comfort. This is real, permanent, the kind of love that changes everything. Later, lying in the aftermath with her head on my chest, I let myself imagine impossible things. A future where someone else's happiness matters as much as my own. Where coming home means coming back to her. Elena? Thank you for letting me in. I tighten my arms around her. Thank you for being worth the risk. 6 months of happiness makes me forget that the universe keeps score. I should have known the balance was too good to last. Ren and I have settled into something that feels like forever. Morning coffee together, evenings in the garden, nights wrapped around each other like we're afraid one of us might disappear. Then Maya shows up at my door. I'm expecting Ren when the doorbell rings at 7:30. Instead, I find my former coach standing on my porch, looking like death warmed over. Maya Ross was once the most intimidating woman I knew, 6 feet of pure determination who could make Olympic champions cry with a single look. Now she's gaunt, hollow-eyed, wearing clothes that hang loose on her shrinking frame. Hello, Elena. Maya. The name feels strange on my tongue. We haven't spoken since the lawsuit settlements 5 years ago. What are you doing here? I need to talk to you. Her voice carries the rasp of someone who's been sick for a while. Please. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She moves carefully, like her bones might break, settling onto my couch with visible effort. Up close, the deterioration is even more shocking. This isn't just age or stress. This is serious illness. "You look good," she says, taking in my house, my obvious contentment. Happy. I'm managing. I perch on the edge of the opposite chair, maintaining distance. "What do you want, Maya?" "To make amends." She coughs, a wet sound that makes me wince. "To tell you the truth before I run out of time." "The truth about what?" "Your accident." The words drop between us like stones into still water. "It wasn't an accident, Elena." "I'm sorry." My blood turns to ice. "What are you talking about?" She pulls a tissue from her pocket with shaking hands. "The lane rope anchor. I loosened it the night before your time trial. I knew you'd hit it when you came off that turn." The room tilts sideways. 5 years of wondering, of replaying that moment in slow motion, trying to understand how perfect equipment could fail so catastrophically. "You're lying." "I wish I was." Tears track down her weathered cheeks. "I was going to lose you to Stanford's program. Coach Martinez made you a better offer, better training opportunities. I couldn't stand the thought of watching you win gold wearing someone else's colors. So you destroyed my shoulder instead." The words taste like ash. "I thought you'd just miss a few meets. Get banged up enough to postpone the transfer until after Beijing." I never meant for the damage to be permanent. But it was permanent. Torn rotator cuff, damaged cartilage, nerve damage that ended my career in 30 seconds of excruciating pain. 10 years of training, a lifetime of dreams, gone because my coach couldn't handle losing me to another program. "I trusted you." My voice breaks on the words. "I trusted you with everything." "I know." Her shoulders shake with sobs. "I know, and I've carried it every day since. The guilt, watching you struggle through recovery, seeing you give up on swimming entirely. I did that to you." Ren's car pulls into the driveway. Through the window, I watch her grab grocery bags from the back seat, completely unaware that my world is imploding yet again. "Why now?" I ask Maya. "Why tell me this now?" She gestures vaguely at her emaciated body. "Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. Maybe 2 months left if I'm lucky." "And you thought a deathbed confession would make this better?" "I thought you deserved to know the truth." She struggles to stand. "I thought maybe it would help you understand that the accident wasn't your fault. You didn't fail that day, Elena. I failed you." Ren's key turns in the front door. "Elena? I got those tomatoes you wanted for dinner." She appears in the living room doorway, takes in the scene. Me sitting rigid with shock, Maya crying on my couch, and immediately shifts into protective mode. "Everything okay?" "This is Maya Ross," I say mechanically. "My former coach." Ren's expression hardens. She knows the history, knows how Maya's betrayal during the lawsuit settlements added insult to the injury of my destroyed career. But she doesn't know the worst of it yet. "I should go." Maya retrieves her purse with trembling hands. "Elena, I'm sorry, for all of it. I hope someday you can forgive me." She leaves without another word, closing the door softly behind her like she's afraid any sudden movement might shatter what's left of my composure. Ren drops the grocery bags and comes to sit beside me. "What was that about?" "She sabotaged my equipment." The words come out flat, emotionless. "The accident wasn't an accident. Maya caused it deliberately." "Oh, Elena." Ren reaches for me, but I flinch away. "Don't, please. I need to think." "Okay." She settles back, giving me space while staying close enough to catch me if I fall apart. "What do you need?" "I don't know." My hands are shaking now, fine tremors that spread up my arms. 5 years I've been blaming myself for not being strong enough, fast enough, good enough to overcome what happened. And it was sabotage the whole time. "This changes everything," Ren says quietly. "Does it?" I look at her through the blur of unshed tears. I'm still broken. My career is still gone. Nothing she said brings any of that back. But even as I say it, I know something fundamental has shifted. The accident wasn't cosmic punishment for arrogance. It wasn't proof that I didn't deserve success. It was just one sick woman's jealousy destroying what she couldn't control. I finally understand why Ren said I didn't need rescuing. I survived Maya's betrayal without even knowing that's what I was surviving. After Maya leaves, I retreat to my bedroom and don't come out for 2 days. I can't face Ren, can't face the questions in her eyes or the careful way she's trying to help me process something that doesn't have a solution. She brings me food I don't eat, sits outside my door without demanding entry, respects my need to fall apart in private, but I can feel her worry like a weight pressing down on everything. On the third morning, I emerge to find her at my kitchen counter, laptop open, surrounded by printed documents and legal pads covered in her precise handwriting. "What's all this?" She looks up, takes in my rumpled pajamas and unwashed hair without judgment. "Research. I'm investigating Maya's claims." "Why?" "Because you deserve the complete truth, not just a dying woman's confession." She picks up a stack of papers. I pulled the original accident reports, insurance investigations, maintenance records from the pool facility. I pour coffee with hands that still shake. "Find anything?" "Inconsistencies." Her voice carries the focused intensity she uses for work. "The equipment inspection was scheduled for the day after your accident. Maya volunteered to do it early. Said she wanted to make sure everything was perfect for your time trial." Of course she did. The anchor bolt showed signs of deliberate loosening. The inspector noted it but attributed it to normal wear. He didn't know to look for sabotage. The confirmation hits like a physical blow. Part of me had hoped Maya was delusional, making up stories to ease her guilt about something else entirely. But the evidence is there, documented in black and white. There's more. Ren hesitates. "She's been tracking your career recovery. Newspaper clippings, magazine articles about your coaching activities, even photos from the garden competitions. She's been watching you for years." Stalking me? Staying informed. Guilty conscience, maybe, or genuine concern. She closes the laptop. "Elena, you need to decide what you want to do with this information." "What do you mean?" "Criminal charges, civil suit. Maya's dying, but there might be justice options if you want them." The thought of more lawyers, more depositions, more years of my life consumed by legal battles makes me physically ill. I can't go through all that again. Okay. She doesn't argue, doesn't tell me I should want justice. Just accepts my decision like it's valid. But you can't hide in your bedroom forever either. Can't I? Elena. She moves around the counter, approaches carefully like I might bolt. "Talk to me. Tell me what you're thinking." "I'm thinking I don't know who I am anymore." The words come out harsher than I intend. Everything I believed about myself, about what happened, was wrong. If Maya caused the accident, then what else was she lying about? Did I actually have talent? Or was she just manipulating me from the beginning? "Your talent was real. The records prove that." Do they? Or did she arrange easier competitions, weaker opponents? I'm spiraling now, questioning everything. Maybe I was never as good as I thought. "Stop." Ren's voice cuts through my self-destruction. "This is what trauma does. It makes you doubt everything, even the things you know for sure. Don't let Maya steal your achievements along with your career." But I'm already pulling away, emotionally and physically. The careful intimacy we've built feels fragile, threatened by the chaos in my head. How can I trust my feelings for Ren when I couldn't even see Maya's betrayal coming? "I need space," I say. "Elena, don't do this." "Do what?" "Push me away because you're scared." "I'm not Maya. I'm not going to hurt you." Everyone hurts everyone eventually. The cynicism tastes bitter but safe. Better to end this before you have the chance. Her face goes very still. "Is that what you want? To end this?" "I don't know what I want. It's the most honest thing I've said in days. I thought I was healing, moving forward, letting someone in. But maybe I'm just good at lying to myself. Or maybe healing isn't linear. Maybe it's okay to have setbacks without burning down everything good in your life." She makes it sound so reasonable. But nothing about my life has ever been reasonable. Olympic dreams destroyed by jealousy, love discovered in middle age, truth revealed years too late to matter. Why should recovery be any different? "I need time," I repeat. "How much time?" "No." Ren gathers her research materials slowly, like she's buying time to find the right words. I'll give you space. But Elena, don't confuse processing trauma with self-sabotage. Maya already took your career. Don't let her take your future too. She leaves her key on the counter and walks out without looking back. The silence that follows feels different from the peaceful quiet we used to share. This silence has teeth. I spend the afternoon staring at Maya's research scattered across my kitchen table. Photos of me accepting garden club awards, newspaper mentions of my brief stint teaching swim lessons to kids. She'd been documenting my survival like evidence of her crime's ongoing consequences. The phone rings. Maya's number appears on the display. I heard about the investigation, she says without preamble. From a friend at the pool facility. Good. Elena, please don't let this destroy what you've built with Ren. I've already ruined enough of your life. Since when do you get an opinion about my life? Since I'm the reason you stopped trusting people. Her voice is weaker than it was 3 days ago. The cancer is moving fast. Don't make my mistake. Don't destroy something good because you're afraid of being hurt again. I hang up without responding, but her words echo in the empty house. Maybe she's right. Maybe I am repeating her pattern. Choosing control over connection. Fear over faith. But knowing something intellectually and feeling it emotionally are different things. And right now, all I feel is lost. Maya dies on a Tuesday morning while I'm deadheading roses in isolation. The call comes from hospice, a gentle nurse who says she went peacefully in her sleep. They ask about funeral arrangements and personal effects, assuming I was still her athlete, still someone who cared about her final wishes. I'm sorry, I tell them. You'll need to contact someone else. But after I hang up, I sit in my garden, crying for reasons I can't untangle. Grief for the mentor I thought I knew, relief that her suffering is over, rage that she died before I could figure out how to forgive her. Ren shows up that evening without calling first. She looks tired, like she's been fighting herself about whether to come. I heard about Maya. News travels fast in a small town. I called the hospice, asked if you needed anything. She stays on the porch side of the door, respecting the boundaries I demanded. Do you? I don't know. It's becoming my standard answer for everything. Come in. She follows me to the kitchen where Maya's research still covers my table like evidence at a crime scene. I haven't been able to bring myself to clean it up or throw it away. How are you holding up? She's dead, and I feel nothing. Is that normal? There's no normal for this situation. Ren settles into the chair across from me. You're allowed to grieve the relationship you thought you had while being angry about the one you actually had. I keep thinking about all the things I should have said to her, or shouldn't have said, whether I should have visited her before she died. You don't owe forgiveness to someone just because they're dying. It's exactly what I needed to hear. The permission to be complicated, to not have clean emotions about an unclean situation. I've been thinking about what you said, I tell her. About Maya taking my career, but not my future. And I want to swim again. Really swim, not just those midnight sessions where I'm hiding from everyone, including myself. Her face lights up with cautious hope. That's huge, Elena. I'm terrified. What if I'm awful? What if the muscle memory is gone? What if people stare at my scars? What if I have a panic attack in the water? What if none of that matters? 2 days later, she drives me to the community center pool at dawn when it's nearly empty. Just a few serious lap swimmers and one lifeguard who looks barely awake. I stand at the pool's edge in my old racing suit, feeling exposed and ridiculous. You don't have to do anything fancy, Ren says. Just get in the water. The first touch of chlorinated water against my skin brings back everything. The smell of deck chemicals, the echo of voices in the natatorium, the feeling of coming home to my element, but also the memory of that last time, the searing pain as my shoulders separated, the way triumph turned to catastrophe in an instant. I can't. Yes, you can. Ren's voice is steady, certain. One stroke. Just one. I slide into the water and immediately sink into the familiar embrace of buoyancy. My body remembers this, even if my confidence doesn't. I push off the wall and take a tentative stroke, then another. My form is terrible. My shoulder protests after 50 yards. But I'm swimming again, moving through water like I was born to do it, reclaiming something Maya tried to steal forever. When I finally stop at the wall, gasping and exhilarated, Ren is crouched at pool's edge with tears in her eyes. How did it feel? Like coming back from the dead. Over the following weeks, we establish a routine. Dawn swims with Ren cheering from the deck, followed by breakfast at our coffee shop. She doesn't ask about our relationship status or what my emotional breakthrough means for us, just shows up every morning, bears witness to my small daily victories. Slowly, I remember why I fell in love with swimming in the first place. Not the competitions or records, but the pure joy of efficient movement through water, the meditation of counting laps, the burn of muscles working at capacity, the satisfaction of incremental improvement. I want to start coaching, I tell her, after a particularly good session. Kids? Adults. People who want to learn but are afraid to start. Second chance swimmers. Like us. The comparison isn't lost on me. We're both rebuilding from damage, learning to trust again despite evidence that trust can be weaponized. But that's exactly why it might work. We understand that healing isn't linear, that progress comes in waves. Maya's funeral is small. A few former swimmers, some coaching colleagues, medical staff from hospice. I sit in the back with Ren beside me, still not sure why I came. The eulogy focuses on her achievements. Olympic medals she won as a young athlete. Champions she developed, contributions to the sport. No mention of sabotage or betrayal or lives destroyed by jealousy. Death sanitizes reputation the way time softens memories. She loved swimming, the pastor says, and she loved her athletes like they were her own children. The irony cuts deep. She loved me enough to destroy my dreams rather than let someone else nurture them. It's the most twisted version of maternal instinct imaginable. After the service, I approach Maya's casket for the first time. She looks smaller in death, diminished by illness and time. The formidable woman who shaped my teenage years reduced to frail mortality. I forgive you, I whisper, and mean it. Not because she deserves forgiveness, but because carrying her betrayal is killing parts of me I want to keep alive. In the car afterward, Ren takes my hand. Ready to go home? Home. When did her presence become synonymous with belonging? When did healing become something we do together instead of alone? Yeah, I tell her. Let's go home. That night, we make love with a tenderness that acknowledges everything we've survived to get here. Her hands are gentle on my scars, mapping damage that's becoming part of my story instead of its ending. When I whisper her name in the aftermath, it sounds like prayer, like gratitude, like hope. I love you, I tell her. Not despite the complications, but because of how you handle them. I love you too. She traces patterns on my skin. All of you. Even the broken parts. Especially the broken parts, I think. Because they're what taught me to recognize something worth keeping when I finally found it. Moving in together happens gradually, then all at once. First it's Ren leaving more clothes in my closet, then her coffee maker appearing beside mine, then the day I realize she hasn't slept at her own apartment in 3 weeks. This is ridiculous, I tell her over breakfast. We're both paying rent on places we barely use. Are you asking me to move in? Her smile is cautious, hopeful. I'm asking you to stop pretending you don't already live here. Her lease is up at the end of the month, which feels like the universe approving our timeline. We spend weekends combining households, discovering the small incompatibilities that make cohabitation real. She squeezes toothpaste from the middle. I insist on making the bed military tight every morning. But we also discover the profound comfort of shared routine. Coffee together at dawn, garden work in the evenings, the luxury of falling asleep knowing someone will be there when I wake up. The coaching program starts with 3 students. 2 middle-aged women who never learned to swim as children, and 1 man recovering from a heart attack, whose doctor prescribed low-impact exercise. They're terrified and determined in equal measure, exactly like I was 6 months ago. Remember, I tell them during our first lesson, water doesn't care about your age or your fears. It only responds to confidence and technique. Teaching forces me to articulate things I'd only felt instinctively. How to breathe efficiently, how to trust the water's support, how to move through resistance instead of fighting it. Watching my students progress from doggy paddle to actual strokes is more satisfying than any race I ever won. You're a natural at this, Ren observes after watching a lesson. It's easier than I expected. Less pressure than competitive coaching. Because you're not trying to create champions, you're just helping people find their element. She's right, as usual. These students aren't aiming for Olympic trials or college scholarships. They just want to feel capable in the water, to overcome a fear that's limited them for decades. Their victories are quieter but no less significant. One evening, while we're grilling dinner on the patio, Ren sets down her beer and looks at me seriously. I've been thinking about something. Should I be worried? My job transfer request got approved. I could move to the Phoenix office, work mostly from home except for court appearances. My heart stops. When? Whenever I want. The position's mine if I take it. She reaches across the table for my hand. But I need to know this is real for you. Not just recovery companionship or settling because I'm convenient. Ren. The vulnerability in her voice catches me off guard. After everything we've been through, she still doubts whether I want her here permanently. I mean it, Elena. If this is just temporary healing for you, I need to know before I rearrange my entire life. I stand up, move around the table to face her directly. Look at me, this house, this life we've built. It doesn't work without you. I don't work without you anymore. But you did work without me. For 5 years you were fine alone. I was surviving alone. There's a difference. I cup her face in my hands. You didn't fix me, Ren. You just made better possible. When I kiss her this time, it's with the weight of permanent commitment behind it. Not the desperate passion of new love, but the steady certainty of choosing someone again and again, through complications and healing and whatever comes next. Take the transfer. I whisper against her lips. Yeah? Yeah. Let's stop pretending this is temporary. That night, we celebrate by making love with the windows open, letting the desert breeze dry the sweat from our skin. There's something different in how she touches me now. Possessive, but also reverent, like she's claiming something precious she's been afraid to believe was really hers. Afterward, lying tangled in sheets that smell like both of us, I trace the line of her collarbone with lazy fingers. I want to ask you something. The garden competition where we met. You said you'd been driving by my plot for weeks. Embarrassing but true. What made you finally talk to me? She's quiet for so long I think she's fallen asleep. Then, you were singing. What? That first day I saw you working, you were singing to your roses, something upbeat and completely off-key. Her laugh rumbles against my shoulder. You looked so content, not performing happiness for anyone else, just genuinely enjoying the moment. I remember that day. Old Madonna song on repeat in my head while I transplanted seedlings. It had been a good morning, one of the rare ones where contentment felt sustainable instead of fragile. That's when I knew you weren't just surviving anymore, she continues. You were actually living again. And I wanted to be part of whatever that looked like. Even though I was a mess. Especially because you were a mess. Perfect people don't have room for anyone else. But you had room for growth, for surprise, for me. 6 months later, my first coaching group graduates to intermediate level. They're not fast or technically perfect, but they're swimmers now instead of people afraid of drowning. The pride on their faces at the graduation ceremony reminds me why I fell in love with this sport in the first place. Speech time. Ren calls from the pool deck where she's been photographing the ceremony. My students insisted on formal recognition, complete with certificates and a small reception. It's silly and wonderful, and exactly the kind of low-pressure celebration I never knew I wanted. When I started this program, I tell the small group, I thought I was teaching you to swim. Turns out you were teaching me something more important, that it's never too late to try again. Afterward, cleaning up pool equipment with Ren's help, I feel the deep satisfaction of work that matters. Not the adrenaline rush of competition, but the quiet fulfillment of service. Proud of you, she says, bumping my shoulder. For what? for building something new instead of mourning what you lost. It strikes me then how completely my life has transformed. A year ago I was isolated, bitter, defining myself entirely by damage and limitation. Now I wake up next to someone I love, spend my days helping others overcome their fears, and fall asleep planning tomorrow's possibilities. Maya tried to destroy my future, but she only managed to redirect it towards something better. 1 year after Maya's death, I'm kneeling in the same community garden where Ren first approached me, but everything has changed. Instead of tending roses alone, I'm working alongside my second group of swimming students, who've decided to try their hand at gardening too. Coach Elena, "These tomatoes look terrible," laughs Margaret, one of my most improved swimmers. "Maybe we should stick to water sports." Every expert was once a beginner, I remind her, the same thing I tell new swimmers on their first day in the pool. Ren appears at the garden gate carrying coffee for everyone, her hair catching afternoon sunlight as she navigates between the plots. She's settled into Gilbert completely now, her home office tucked into what used to be my spare bedroom, her witness protection cases managed remotely except for the occasional court appearance. "Delivery service," she announces, distributing cups to my amateur gardening crew. "You're spoiling us," Margaret says, but accepts the coffee gratefully. After the group disperses to their own plots, Ren and I work together on the rosebed that started everything. The original prize winners have been joined by new varieties, David Austin roses that bloom repeatedly, climbers that cover the back fence, even a small patch of wild roses that Ren insisted would add character. "Nervous?" she asks, nodding toward the arbor we installed last month. "Tomorrow is our commitment ceremony. Nothing legal, nothing elaborate, just friends and chosen family gathering to witness what we've built together. The garden center donated space, my swimming students are doing readings, and Mrs. Patterson from the Herb Society is officiating with her online ordination certificate. Terrified, I admit. What if I mess up my vows? What if you do? It's not a performance, Elena, it's just us telling the truth about what we mean to each other." She makes it sound so simple. But then, Ren has always had the gift of distilling complicated emotions into manageable truth. The roses we're deadheading are the same variety I was tending when we met. Hybrid teas that require patience and consistent care, but reward the effort with stunning blooms. Like relationships, I've learned. Like healing. Like everything worth having. I keep thinking about Maya, I tell her. Good thoughts or bad thoughts? Complicated thoughts. I strip off my gardening gloves. She was wrong about so many things, but she was right about one. I was magnificent in the water. Not because I was destined for Olympics, but because I loved it purely. And now? Now I'm magnificent at other things. Teaching, growing things. Loving you. Ren's smile could power the whole city. There's my confident woman. That evening, our friends gather for the rehearsal dinner we're hosting on our patio. It's a small group, my swimming students, Ren's colleagues from the Phoenix office, neighbors from the garden center who've watched our relationship bloom alongside our vegetables. To Elena and Ren, Margaret raises her wine glass, for proving it's never too late for new beginnings. The toast makes me emotional in ways I didn't expect. These people barely knew me a year ago. Now they're celebrating my happiness like it's their own victory. Later, after everyone leaves, Ren and I sit by the pool sharing a bottle of champagne left over from the party. The water reflects patio lights like scattered stars, peaceful and inviting. "Want to go for a swim?" she suggests. "Now? Why not? Last night, as unmarried women." We strip down and slip into the cool water together, floating side by side under the desert sky. Swimming at night was something I used to do alone, in secret, when the grief felt too heavy for daylight. Now it's become one of our shared rituals. Midnight swims when we want to talk without distraction, or simply exist together in comfortable silence. "Any regrets?" Ren asks, treading water beside me. "About tomorrow? Never." "About anything?" I consider this seriously. I regret the years I spent believing Maya's version of what happened. I regret pushing you away when I first learned the truth. But I don't regret the path that brought us here. Even the painful parts? Especially the painful parts. They taught me to recognize something worth fighting for. We swim lazy laps together, not racing or training, just moving through our element with shared rhythm. When we finally climb out, skin dripping and hearts racing from exertion, Ren pulls me close for a kiss that tastes like chlorine and promise. The next morning dawns clear and warm, perfect weather for an outdoor ceremony. I wake before my alarm in the bed we've shared for almost a year, watching Ren sleep beside me and marveling at the ordinary miracle of loving someone this much. Second thoughts? She murmurs without opening her eyes. About marrying you? Never. About wearing a dress? Definitely. She laughs, rolls over to face me fully. You'll be beautiful in anything. Even cargo shorts and a tank top? Especially cargo shorts and a tank top. Friends arrive early to help with setup, transforming the garden space into something magical. White chairs arranged in neat rows, the rose arbor draped with lights, a small table for our rings and the readings we've chosen. Mrs. Patterson appears in a flowing purple dress that makes her look like a benevolent fairy godmother. Ready to make this official, ladies? As guests take their seats, I stand at the front beside Ren and look out at faces that have become family. Margaret and the other swimmers, beaming with pride. Colleagues from Ren's office who've accepted me as part of her life without question. Neighbors who've watched us grow from strangers to partners to something unshakable. We gather today, Mrs. Patterson begins, to celebrate Elena and Ren, who found each other at exactly the right time to be exactly what the other needed. Ren goes first, her vows simple and devastating. Elena, you taught me that healing isn't something you do alone. That love isn't about finding someone perfect, but about finding someone whose imperfections complement your own. I promise to tend our relationship like you tend your roses, with patience, attention, and absolute faith in what we're growing together. My own vows stick in my throat for a moment, overwhelmed by the weight of everything we've survived to get here. Ren, you saw me when I couldn't see myself. You waited while I learned to trust again. You celebrated my victories and held me through my setbacks without ever trying to fix what wasn't yours to repair. I promise to love you with the same courage you showed in loving me. We exchange rings, simple gold bands that catch the afternoon light. When Mrs. Patterson pronounces us married in the eyes of love if not law, and tells us we may kiss, the applause from our small audience feels like the roar of an Olympic crowd. But this victory is quieter, deeper, more permanent than any medal I could have won. This is the prize that no one can sabotage or steal, the choice to build something beautiful with someone who chooses you back, every single day. As we walk back down the aisle together, hands intertwined, I catch Ren's eye and mouth the words that have become our private promise. Thank you for being worth the risk. She squeezes my fingers 3 times, our secret code for I love you, and pulls me close for another kiss under the roses we planted together in soil that finally feels like home.